Hi.
3 Kilk Phillip.
Here. Usernames are seldom read online. At least I'm assuming that's why nobody can spell nor pronounce my name properly. It also allows the same person to have the impact of many, provided they're persistent enough. As an example, I don't like to block somebody if they say a one-off horrible comment on my channels. Maybe there's some truth to their critical comment that I could take on board and learn from. However, if all they do is criticise me every video, it's nice to know they're that kind of person so I can block them guilt-free, which saves my time and mental state moving forward. Why would somebody who hates me keep watching my content, I hear you ask? Yeah, I have the same question. If you have an answer, then please let me know, but there's an alarming number of people who do. Fortunately, YouTube has made it easy to see somebody's recent comment history, and because I seldom read or remember usernames, it's shocking how many times I click on a comment history and I'm reminded of several hurtful things that broke my soul slightly when I first read them, and then I can just block that person and move on. But there are nice repeat commenters too, like Burger406, who I swear must be some elaborate bot account because without fail, he's one of the first to comment on every video of mine. But what he says is usually quite relevant to the subject matter, so I'll just let him carry on. See if you can comment on this video before he does. And then you just get weird commenters. Hot UK Deals is a website that posts deals for stuff, and I like to keep an eye on tech just to know what the prices are currently doing. Thing is, the site hates laptops with big screens. Or so I thought. Turns out it's just one person. Meet Field Marshal Paulus, a person who, for the last 4 years, has complained about every laptop that has a screen bigger than 14 inches. Every laptop deal, no matter how good, so long as it's got a 15-inch screen or above, he'll complain about it and will often bait others into discussing the topic with him. It isn't just a preference, screen size has become his identity. And he brightens up my day every time I see a comment thread with him in, arguing with somebody else about why size matters. Speaking of size, meet Ilovebiiiiigdicks, a Reddit account who single-handedly made me think half of Reddit was collecting STIs as though they were proud of it, but it turned out it was just a single account arguing with everybody in this particular post. I had a good laugh with friends about this, where he argues he practices safe sex, but doesn't wear condoms, and has had STIs dozens of times. But still insists he practices safe sex. Every comment he posted was kind of believable, but combine them all together and they started to tell a very silly story. But I like it, because finally, rather than endless posts vying for your approval and agreement, for a brief moment I was transported back to the old days when I took an interest in a single individual online whose personality bucked the hive mind trend of modern social media. Just a shame it had to be Ilovebiiiiigdicks. But yeah, there was a time online when there were forums with few enough posters that you got to know all the regulars through their post history. Over 20 years ago now, I was active in the Kill and Play community, and I remember many repeat individuals, like Nerdboy, who was known to spam low-effort comments to farm his rank on the forums. As a 13-year-old, I had the time to get to know all these people as though they were friends. I also remember a very kind man called Sensation Prince, who really wanted to be my friend. Those were the days. This has all been replaced with the relative anonymity of Reddit, where there are so many people on it that you assume every post you see is from a new person. Besides that shitty morph guy who lures people in with a fascinating post before hitting them with the Undertaker story. But the fact he catches you out every time proves my point. We just assume every post is from somebody different these days, but also the same person and that they're kind of right in some way. And that's the problem the internet needs to solve. You might moan about zany characters with overly active accounts, but they're a billion times better than the opposite, where a single person uses multiple accounts to amplify the authenticity of their opinions. Yes, I'm talking about bot armies, the thing that's always been a thing, but now with the advent of AI has become even more of a thing. A thing that's increasingly elaborate, sly, and profitable. And it's impossible for us to know the sheer scope and scale of this problem because it's intentionally hidden in plain sight. I dread to think how much of the internet is now bot-driven AI or AI-driven bots. I suspect every major subreddit is brigaded more every year, even if just in subtle ways where every post is upvoted or downvoted just enough to give the impression that X viewpoint is more popular than Y viewpoint, or where the same few influencers can pay to have their posts boosted to continually be on the front page of various communities. Maybe there are services that target and harass individuals online where every post they make is stripped of credibility by a seemingly rabid horde of accounts. Sure would explain so much of what I see going on online. Who knows if these are actually real people? So long as it works, does it matter? And I'm sure the real people will follow. Where's the internet going? Will it just become so saturated with bots that real people are seldom talking to each other anymore? At that point, do we all rage quit and return to small enclosed communities again? Back to the comfort of our nerd boys and sensation princes? Or do we just carry on as normal? Besides, what difference does it make if all the content you see on Reddit is suddenly replaced with rigged up votes and the same farming of older content and comments endlessly? Surely that's what it's been like for years already. And that's why I love it when a single account bothers to carve out a niche that they're known for, be it in the form of serial posters like Burger406, screen obsessive Field Marshal Paulus, or I love big dicks.